just a quick question on what are your key kind of business highlights for this year? What would you say are your key highlights in the business environment this year?
Okay, thank you very much, Ronald. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's nice to have you online again. And yes, I'm Rosemary Mutyabule, as introduced, and I work with Enterprise Uganda. I'm Director of Business Advisory Services. I think I want to start by first thanking all entrepreneurs online for your patronage, because you have patronized this business recovery series. And to thank also Ronald, who has been at the forefront of this, of running this series. Now, we call this series the Business Recovery Series. And we started this series during COVID time. Again, we all know that during the lockdown, there was no movement, but we knew that the business people were struggling, your business people were struggling. And so there was need to continue supporting you, to continue providing a platform where you can share, where you can acquire knowledge. And so over the years, this platform has remained steady. We have brought in different solutions. We have shared, we've brought in speakers across the different pillars of our business. That is in finance, we've talked about human resource, we've talked about operations, marketing, and about business strategy and leadership. And so as we come to the end of 2023, I think it's the opportune time for us to just reflect. And so I'm just going to share a bit of insights to reflect on the year 2023, and really from the perspective of the business person and for us as business advisors. And so I'll look at, from the macroeconomic point of view, the indicators seem to be all in place. Inflation has eased. As we know, inflation is now at 2.4%. And so from the macroeconomic point of view, inflation is down, therefore prices are not really rising. And again, I think this stability comes from food prices, stability of food prices. But also GDP, we from the records we have from the economic data, our GDP is, I think we've hit the highest in the last 3 years at 6.9%, meaning the economy is stronger, meaning that there's expanded economic activity. And so it's a good place for the private sector to operate on. However, when we also look at the business from the business community perspective, we see that, as Ronald said, businesses I see resilience in our businesses. I know that as private sector, you are not yet out of the woods. We still have had some lows in the year as well. But what we are seeing is a stronger adaptation. Businesses are becoming more adaptable to the economic shocks, both local and externally generated shocks. And we are seeing resilience. And I want to appreciate you, the business people, for the resilience, maintaining the struggle, keeping in the struggle in spite of the challenges. But also we know that these challenges will never go away. There's always something new coming up. And so for us, for me, that is a high to see the resilience, and the resilience coming from, and that we as Enterprise Uganda are contributing to this resilience by sharing knowledge. Because it is said that every problem, as far as business is concerned, even life, every problem is a knowledge problem. So when you're having any challenge, there is a knowledge problem, there is a gap. And so you need people to acquire knowledge. And so we come in as Enterprise Uganda. And so I think through the year, we have been able to contribute to providing knowledge that will solve your knowledge problem in as far as business is concerned. And so as a result of that knowledge, we are seeing resilience. We are seeing that there's better understanding of business, and your muscle to deal with challenges in business is being built. And so for us, that is really a high, and that sets a very good foundation and a good stage for growth. And so we are hopeful that next year should be able to see our businesses grow, your small businesses grow, because you've been able to position yourself. But also the other high is, as a result of COVID, as a result of the lockdown, e-commerce, we are seeing a boom in e-commerce, and we are seeing a lot of our business people adapting to e-commerce technology and embracing a lot of technology related solutions in our business processes and in our business operations. So we are seeing an improve in business efficiency, but also the lowering of business costs as a result of embracing technology. But also we are seeing our businesses adapt to the changing profile of our customers. our customers have never been the same after COVID. But our customers became e-customers. They don't walk into our shops necessarily. A big percentage of our customers are connected, they're out there. And we've seen that a lot of us are now embracing social media. And so for me, those are highlights for our businesses. It means that we are being responsive. And that part of the solutions we're providing as Enterprise Uganda, the knowledge sessions are to help you to pick these basic competencies and be able to adapt, adjust your business, adjust and align yourself to your customer profile. Find your customers where they are and pivot your businesses to make sure that you actually are responding to the needs of your customers. Because today, marketing has become very personalized. So you have to inbox the customer, you find them where they are and tailor your solution to that. And we are seeing a lot of our businesses doing that. I'm even amazed that recently, we've just come out of last month, we're celebrating the Global Entrepreneurship Week. And so we also had a competition where we brought in, we asked businesses to compete for those that are innovative. And so I'm amazed that we had a lot of young people who are innovating, embracing AI, artificial intelligence in their businesses. And so we have somebody who came up with a technology of lowering your cost of recruitment. And I think that was an amazing thing. And, solving problems for people who are into rental. Professor Sabit is here, who is in rental. You struggle with collecting rent, but someone has a software locally developed by Ugandans that you could actually use to lower the cost of managing your tenants, but also to ensure that you actually collect. So a lot of innovation out here. And so for me, that's a highlight that Ugandans are responding to the problems that are in our environment and coming up with solutions that are actually able to address those. And in the process, businesses are being created. And so there's a lot of growth happening in spite of the constraints we're having as an economy. We are seeing a lot of new businesses coming up, a lot of innovation. And the call here is for us to embrace these innovations and see how we can use them to streamline and also improve the operations of our businesses and therefore the profitability of our businesses. And so, those are the highs. But of course, we've also had lows. And like I said, in spite of the lows, because that's part of life. The challenges will always happen. And so we know that in this year, we've had a lot of challenges in terms of, we've had external shocks. After COVID, we thought we were out of the woods. And then suddenly we have the Ukraine war, we have the Israel war. And what that means, it pushes prices. And so we've had imported inflation, so to speak, high cost of doing business because of the increasing cost of fuel. We've had our bad roads. Infrastructure has been a big challenge, and this has affected all of us because what that happens, it slows down the movement of people, of goods, and that is a cost to our businesses. But we see those, again, these are all challenges that we've experienced, but these should not hold us down. And so that resilience calls us to actually be able to solve, to innovate. That's why you've been using a truck or a vehicle to transport. Because of the potholes, you now go for border, go for motorcycles, and for any other means that's actually cheaper and faster. We also know that debt still remains a challenge. We've had a number of new business people struggling with debt. And we are hoping that some of the solutions that we provided, the knowledge that you've acquired from the sessions, because we've brought in people who have spoken about debt management, how to get free yourself out of debt. And so I think that as we reflect on this year, we've shared a lot of knowledge in spite of the highs and the lows. We have a lot of knowledge that you have received. And so I think the biggest challenge for us as we end the year, as we reflect on what we have done, as we reflect on the highlights and the highs and the lows of this year, the big question is, what have you done with the knowledge that you have acquired through the year? What are some of the concrete action points that you're taking to make sure that you make your business better, you position your business for a better year, 2024, and that you actually achieve the growth? So I think those are the highlights. And so over to you, Ronald.
Thank you so much, Rosemary. You kind of highlight a number of issues which have been apparent. I think there was a time there. I mean, when you look at the prices at the beginning of the year, especially things like fuel, which were driven by the external shocks that you mentioned. Debt has been another big issue. I think one thing which has also come up, I mean, one of the of all this, I think we've had close to about 48 sessions to this point. But of all of them, one of the most common topics, I think we have met about 4 times on the same, has been taxation, and actually working with the regulators generally, and the relationship between the taxman and the entrepreneur, the relationship between the regulator and the entrepreneur. And I just wanted to pick your mind on your thoughts on how, going into the new year, an entrepreneur listening to you, how should they reflect on this relationship? I mean, sometimes it feels like it's a cat and mouse relationship. I think even during the Global Entrepreneurship Week, it was one of the more heated topics. But how should an entrepreneur approach the regulator as part of the business, or a partner in the business which they're doing?
Thank you, Ronald. Yes, the issue of compliance, regulatory compliance. Now we know that, of course, typically for any small business, cost is such a big issue, and the reason that many of our businesses actually collapse. Statistics show that a huge number of our businesses collapse in the first year. But one of the biggest causes of that cost, one of the drivers of that collapse, is cost. And so what that means is that a number of business people have decided that some of these costs, if I can avoid them, I will avoid them and only maintain those direct costs, the direct costs to running the business. And so you find that without thinking about it, we then opt for informality and say, I rather remain small. Why? Because we are trying to manage costs. This may be so in the short term, but it costs you in the long term. And so the issue of statutory, we have statutory requirements. And so by law, there are certain compliance areas that you must oblige to. And so the first one is tax. It is by law required that any business must pay tax, must be registered and pay for tax. And so the issue of formality then becomes very important. And so, yes, we know that we've had, over the years, we've had challenges. We probably have, a story of somebody who has had issues with the Uganda Revenue Authority, where we think we are being overtaxed. But we also realize that some of the challenges we have is because we actually have not taken time to understand what this is. Because the tax is on your profits, it's not taxed on your sales, on your income. And so we've had a number of sessions from Uganda Revenue Authority and different speakers over the year, just to be able to demystify the whole issue of taxation. And so I think that as we go into next year, we must realize that it is important that if we're in business, compliance is key. And one of them is compliance with tax. And so register your business, make sure you have a TIN. Now that TIN number is not just only important for you for tax purposes, but also if you're going to grow your business, if you're going to go into other value chains to supply other markets, the first thing now is you must have a TIN number. And so we need to move away from that fear, from the misconception that tax is a bad thing. It is part of your business and you plan for it. And so it is, again, making sure we have the right systems in place and that we are able to separate and know what belongs to you and which 30% goes to tax, and to be able to pay that. File our returns in time and be able to pay. And so I think that going into the new year, we need to engage. And URA has actually also evolved over time, and they're very, very customer oriented. And so they are willing to talk to the customers. They are willing to educate you. So I think my appeal is for us to be able to engage beyond the sessions Enterprise Uganda has given us, engage beyond the speakers that we have given you to speak on taxation, and walk to your tax office and find out more information and see how you can comply, because compliance is very key for growth of your business. The issues of NSSF, that's also a statutory requirement. You're required that for every employee, you must make a contribution of 10% and the employee pays 5%. Again, that is also, it's a requirement and it's something we must provide for in our costing and take it as a cost in our business, so that when you're budgeting in your costs, you must provide for taxation, you must provide for NSSF and any other requirements that you may need. But those are the two main ones. So they are part of our businesses. They must be factored within our cost structure, and we must be able to make sure that we are compliant, because as we position ourselves for growth, whoever wants to do business with you under the Google policy, under the local content policy, the first two questions they ask is those two. They want to see your tax compliance, and they want to see whether you're also complying in terms of the Employment Act. And so it is a requirement, and I want us If we still have any gaps in there in 2024, we'll continue to bring in speakers in those areas to make sure that we understand and that we are aligned and we are compliant as businesses. Over to you.
Super. I think you certainly raise an absolutely important point on the issue of if you want to to do work with government, if you want to get into the procurement process of government, oil is another sector which is picking up. But I mean, before you even have any conversation, they say, "Where is your TIN number? Give us a clearance certificate from NSSF." Sometimes you have standards which you have to have met, and I think it's very important for the entrepreneur to appreciate that actually this is part and parcel of your business. Its absence is creating a risk for the business. And as you have rightly said, if you can play the informal card, but a time reaches where the business is really asking you to grow, and if these boxes are not ticked, it becomes a problem. But and I think possibly one more important point there is the fact that it is important to do early. The fact that the earlier you do it, the better. We have had people who have gotten audits and they say 3 years back, 4 years back, you haven't been compliant. Sometimes that can be painful. But I think it's important that as the entrepreneurial community, we appreciate that this is part and parcel of doing business, and it's an allowable cost. It's like paying rent. The way you pay rent for your premises, you also have to pay rent for operating in this country. So you have to follow the laws of the country, and it's important to actually pick that up. I think Rosemary, just before I bring the entire audience in, I just wanted you to touch a bit on this question of debt. We have seen a number of large businesses have really struggled. Some of this is something which is coming from the COVID period, but some of it is coming from many years. And debt is one of those delicate things which I know we have had about 2 or 3 sessions specifically focusing on loans and debt. But what tips can you give an entrepreneur as they enter the new year with regard to debt? How should they approach this big part of business? How do you ensure that it makes you and not break you?
Yes, the issue of debt. And again, I think that's another area where we've focused quite a lot in the year on the issue of debt, because we know that especially there are some sectors that were hit. I think the education sector and a few other sectors that were most hit by debt. But what I want to, I think, emphasize here is that debt is part of any business journey. So you cannot outgrow debt. If you're going to grow, you're going to play the game of leveraging other people's money, other resources to be able to grow your business. And so I think that is first and foremost very important for us to understand that debt is part of our business. But as we go into 2024, we've all had different experiences with debt. Some of us have been fortunate to be able to clear our debt. Some of us are still struggling with the debt that we inherited, that we contracted probably in 2020, before COVID or in COVID. And so we are still struggling, and the business hasn't yet stabilized to the extent that it can actually be able to manage. And so I think that going forward, what is important is we need to be able to take stock of our debt. What debt do we have and categorize it? Because I know that typically a Ugandan borrower will borrow from 3 sources. We borrow from the commercial banks, we will borrow from money lenders. So we borrow from the commercial banks at about 20% per annum. We have borrowed from money lenders at about 20% per month, which makes it 240% per annum. And we have also borrowed probably from family and friends. And so many of us have those 3 categories of debt. And I think that as we go, as we end the year, as we reflect about over 2023 and prepare for 2024, it's important for us to be able now to consolidate our debt. First of all, take stock, inventory of your debt. What debt do I have? And so let's consolidate this debt and then explore ways of dealing with the high interest rate, because we have some high interest rates. So let's prioritize those and see how we can be able to pay off the high interest loans. By the end of the year, make sure that we put in place arrangements to pay off our high interest loans first. And then we begin to reduce the overall debt burden on our business. So prioritize our loan and see which one is high cost, high interest loans, put those aside, and then for the others, let's consolidate and then renegotiate. Go back to the different borrowers and say, you know what, this is where we stand, and this is my plan for 2024. Let's not run away from the pool money, but instead let's talk to them, negotiate, use the communication skills, the negotiation skills that you have learned over the year, and get to your banker or to your financial or to family members and say, you know what, this year has been a bit hard for me, but these are my projections for next year. And if all goes well, this is how I intend to be able to pay off this loan. So let's negotiate, but most importantly, maintain relationships, because we need these relationships in business. One of the people you cannot outgrow in business is financials, whether it is debt or equity or family, you need to keep good relationships. And so I think as we roll into the year, it's important for us. But also let's now get into budgeting. Let's create comprehensive budgets and look at what were my incomes this year, what were my expenses this year, and what are my debt obligations. And then we look at that full picture and then see how we can plan effectively. And so going into 2024, let's learn to work around budgets, because some of the debt we have gone into is because this debt was not, that loan you took did not arise from the business needs, but it came because the bank called you and said, we have this cheap loan. And so you rushed for it without having planned for it. It wasn't in your budget for the year of 2023, but you went for it because you thought it was such a cool thing that the bank had approached you, because remember, the banks are also in business. And so going forward, debt, any loan you take must be arising from the needs of the business. And this must be planned so that you're not rushing into expensive debt, but you're able to get affordable debt based on the needs. So when you plan ahead and by June next year, I will be needing, say, 20 million, start planning for it now and go shopping. Let us get into the practice of shopping for debt. Just like when you're going to buy a car, you'll go from bond to bond to make sure you're comparing, you're looking for the best features in the car, but making sure you have the best deal. The same applies to money. Let us not just be tied to our bankers. No, move around. After all, we have the Credit Reference Bureau that has all your credit history. So it doesn't tie you to one bank, meaning any bank you go to, even if you don't have a history with them, they will go to the Credit Reference Bureau. And so as we go into 2024, your credit rating is very critical. It measures how your behavior in terms of repaying your debt. And so you must make sure that if you had a rugged credit rating for 2023, your strategy should be, how do I clean up myself and make sure that going 2024, I'm cleaning my credit reference, my credit rating, so that I can be able to access debt from any open source, any other sources in 2023. So it's really about making sure we are budgeting and have the discipline of going by your budget, and then also managing our lifestyle. That's the other bitter truth, that one of the reasons that we struggle with debt is diverting money. So you borrow for reason A and you end up using the money for reason B. So let us manage our lifestyle. Let us close some of those leaking taps in our lifestyle, how we spend money, and make sure that we are as prudent and as frugal as possible in the use of our money. And that way we should be able to sort out our debt situation and improve our rating. Over to you, Ronald.
Super. Well, at this moment, thanks a lot, Rosemary. At this moment, we will have an opportunity to just get feedback from, if you had any comments to contribute to the conversation, please just raise your hand. I'll give you an opportunity. I see a couple of people who have participated in the sessions before. Please just raise your hand and just give a comment towards this. I think, Rosemary, as we wait for the hands, one of the questions which remained rolling in, and I think we talked about this during the year, there was the whole thing about managing people. I think one of the things we saw when we were starting the business recovery series was, during COVID, one of the responses many entrepreneurs had was to let go of their people. And sometimes you find that they haven't recruited everyone back. Possibly you had 10 employees, you reduced to 3, but you have just gone to 5. But I just wanted you to quickly comment on human resource and how we can be able to manage it better. during this coming year, and then I will possibly give a bid an opportunity to also make a comment.
Okay, Ronald, thanks for that. Yeah, the issue of people are very key in our businesses. People make our businesses, people break our businesses. And again, like I've already hinted, the issue of costs, keeping down costs has also cost a lot of our businesses, because we find that human resource is one of the areas that has suffered most in terms of a business trying to keep costs. Because what we do, we are cutting costs, and so we decide to recruit, we go for the cheapest usually without looking for exactly the value that we are looking to extract. And so yes, during COVID, a number of businesses let go, which was a very prudent decision, because you were not making enough sales, and so why keep that cost, that cost burden on? And so it was a prudent decision. But also we know that as a result of COVID, a lot of human resource now, people are in employment, but they are also working from home. And so they are able to take on a second job as a part-time job or as a side hustle. And so I think that one of the ways we should explore as small businesses is how can we get people to work for us without necessarily being on our payroll. And so just keep a lean core staff that is critical to your business, but then outsource the others. So I think that should be the first strategy, to keep your costs down, but also get value. But as you outsource, one of the things that we learned from the expert that shared during the year was the issue of, when you're recruiting, what exactly are you looking for? Because many times we don't ask that question. What competence are we looking for? What is the profile of this person that we are looking for? And so you need to have a clear picture of the person that you're looking for. So clearly define the job responsibilities and expectations that you have from that person, so that you're looking for someone to fit a mold that you already have molded. But many times someone calls and say, oh, I have this person, please give him a job. So you take them on, but they don't fit within the mold. So we want you as an employer to first identify the gaps that you have within your company, and then describe or profile this person. And so then look for somebody who matches. And so the recruitment becomes very important. And then, of course, once we recruited, then it's now, how do we retain talent? Because again, that's another area. So we need to make sure that we are as competitive as possible. If this person that you recruited is critical to your team, critical to the success of your business, then make sure that you actually are providing them with a competitive business environment, work environment, and a competitive package that they will be able to actually come in and align and be able to give value and grow your business. And so provide for growth opportunities. You know, many of us have no donation structures. So when I come in, there's no opportunity for me to grow. Even when I push and I excel, there is no commensurate reward for my extra effort. And so we must have within our structures opportunities for growth. Create opportunities where your employees learn, but also where they're able to advance in their career, so that ambitious people within your business can actually find where to move, rather than take their ambition out of the business, because in your company, there's no opportunity for actually for growth or for accommodating those who are ambitious. And so those are things we need to be able to provide for in our businesses. And then, of course, today we must be flexible. Flexibility. You know, if somebody needs to work from home, it's really about results. So allow them to be able to work where they best can deliver and be very accommodative. But at the end of the day, these are human beings. So feedback, communication, I think that we need to cultivate a very good relationship with our employees, where we are able to hear from them, but also allow for them to contribute to our businesses, to give ideas and listen to them, embrace them, but also share feedback. So that kind of environment should be an environment that is conducive for growth, conducive for communication, and a family kind of environment, but a high accountability environment. Family, but high accountability. And accountability comes from being able to clearly outline or describe what it is that you expect from me. I understand it, and then I am answerable to you. I think, yeah, so those are some of the key ways of managing talent, keeping talent.
Super. Thanks a lot, Rosemary. Great. I'm going to just let a bid in. I saw your hand up. I just want to remind the audience that this is the Business Recovery Series. This is our final session this year. We will be off for a month and we'll be back on the 18th of January with the first session in 2024. But it's a reflection session. We are just here to say, what has the year meant to you? What have been your key takeaways? And how can that be able to not only help you, but also help someone else who is listening today. So at this moment, I'll open up to the audience. Please feel free to put up your hand. I'll give you an opportunity to make your comments. Abid, please go ahead and share.
Yes, Ronald, thank you. My key lesson from this year has been how to manage capital, and this has been having a support system around me. So working through with friends, we have done investment groups where we collect money and then we lend it back to ourselves at rates that are easier and terms that have been much better than we get from elsewhere. And it has been interesting in that you're lending yourself back your own money and you have to pay it back, and it is helping. So I find just bringing that together as a group has been helpful. And also the support system to make sure as a business working with other businesses and we're supporting each other and having an exchange, sort of like a barter trade of services, where somebody gives you a service and you give them a service. This has been helpful in managing our costs this year, especially as economy is still recovering. And it has been very fruitful in that we have found very good competitors who have become collaborators, and we have actually worked together to get more business. That has been some of my lessons from this year as a business person.
Super. Thanks a lot, Abid. I think Abid raises an important issue, the strength of working together in numbers, investment groups, investment clubs. Some people are working within their circles and their cooperatives. But ideally, the idea that possibly there is enough capital around you, but it's just not well organized. And I think that's one of the things we have to crack. And Abid, I'm glad to hear that this is something you are seeing making a difference in your business, but it's something which we need to strengthen so that we come together and we put our capital together, because that way you have permission to be able to determine the terms which will be used to kind of lend out this money. And that proves critical as we keep the journey going. Please do feel free to put up your hand in case you have a comment which you want to make. Yes, I've seen a comment here from Council Emily. Council Emily is a legal advisor and governance trader with Otis Advocates. Council, thank you so much. You are a regular member in this conversation. It's nice to see that you're there. Don't know whether you want to make a comment on what the key takeaways for the year have been. Let me try to unmute you. Derek, I don't know whether you can help me find Council. I don't seem to. Derek can help me find her. Yeah, please do feel free to put up your hand, and then we can give you an opportunity to kind of share on this. I see Matthias. Yes, Matthias, please go ahead. Matthias, unmute, and we can listen to you. Matthias, please unmute.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Matthias, just unmute. I think, that's better.
Can you hear me?
Can. Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I want to thank Enterprise Uganda for the weekly sessions it normally gives us. As someone who has been in business my childhood, And as someone who started the business 10 years back, I am grateful. These sessions have really had an impact on me. Two, I want to thank Ronald Mukasa. I give flowers when someone is still alive. So let me give my flowers. My dream next year is to meet Ronald Mukasa. I hope it comes true. This year, I have made so many mistakes. But at the end of the day, again, it's like the mistakes that I was making. It's what the Enterprise Uganda was picking from to give us a different session. So as on my side, yeah, I might be actively not in business as of now, but I'm grateful for the session. And I hope to advise more of my friends who are into business to be coming for these sessions, I think, every week. But I am grateful to Enterprise Uganda. I am grateful to Ronald Mukasa. I am grateful to Stella Tasha. I am grateful to Lawrence Mwebesa. I'm grateful to Noah Wandera. Yeah. And last but not least, Florence Mutyabule. Thank you so much for putting up Enterprise Uganda. As young people who are in business, we have learned a lot. I hope we shall learn more. I hope maybe our children shall learn more from you people as well. As Matthias, the fish guy, I have learned a lot. That's when I'm grateful. The many mistakes that I've made this year, I want to tell people that I lost my business of fish, but I am hopeful that it will come back. Before 30th January, I will be back to business. So many mistakes in short, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Matthias, for that feedback. And we are standing with you as I think Rosemary mentioned, the business is full of ups and downs. And the one who hasn't been down won't know the full story of business. And we are glad to hear that you have a plan and you see a date when the business will recover. But thanks a lot for the feedback. And certainly we'll have that cup of tea at the beginning of next year. That should be done at least in January. We should tick that box early in January. And I think some of the people who were mentioned by Matthias are some of the counselors. Some of you have had an opportunity to be visited by an Enterprise Uganda business advisor or a counselor or a mentor. And I think it has been of value. So if you really want, I'll ask Derek to post, if you want someone to come to your business, sit with you for a moment, please just fill our Google Sheet, which Derek is going to post, and then that will allow you to get a visit from one of our team members. Thanks a lot for the feedback. Millie, I'll give you an opportunity to share, and then I'll go to Professor Goodluck. Millie, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you so much, Enterprise Uganda. For me, the highs of this year was being able to let go of one of my key personnel. I was running crazy. I ran one morning to Enterprise Uganda office, and the person I met there was Noah, because I was like really running out of my head. This guy was, behaving so badly, and he felt that he could manipulate me as an entrepreneur because he was sitting there in my business. And the counsel that I got gave me the courage to ask him to leave. When he left, the business has not fully recovered, but I'm glad I let him go because, things were just not adding up. I did talk to a business advisor, moving up and down over the same issue, but I'm glad with the support of Enterprise Uganda, I was able to make this tough decision. I thank you and I submit.
Thank you so much, Millie. Tough decision. Always, it's a tough thing to decide to let go of an employee. Sometimes you feel like you are literally in a marriage where you just don't want to let go, and yet the right thing to do for the business and for yourself is to make those tough decisions. And we are glad that that through the support, through the council, from us or from all the colleagues who you talk to, we were glad to hear that, and I will be sure to share with Noah this feedback. He's currently in an ETW. I encourage all of you to take a moment and do the entrepreneurship training workshop. There's one going on right now. That's why Noah is not with us. But ideally, it's one where it reminds you about your core competences as an entrepreneur, and one of them is having the strength to make tough decisions, as Millie has shared. I will quickly
Ronald, may I say something? Ronald,
yes,
can I just say something?
Yes, please.
Yes, I just wanted to commend Millie for that very tough decision she made, but I also want to pick a lesson for us out of that, because very many businesses have those, I want to call them kings, this person that you have created on whom you depend on. And so a lesson for all of us in business is ensure your teams are multi-skilled. Don't get one person who knows it all and they're the only ones you depend on. And so have multiple teams, have multi-skilled people, but also rotate them so that when one goes off, business is not disrupted. Because what happens when you put all your hope and trust and everything in this one person who knows everything about your business more than even yourself, then that is a recipe for disaster. So I'm glad you made that decision, but the lesson for everybody is make sure you don't have those kings, that you make sure all your teams are exposed to the same thing and you rotate them and they understand your business fully, and nobody can say, I am more important than the other person. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rosemary. That's very true. Make sure that at least the business can stand without an individual, including yourself, so that the business can be able to keep going. I'll quickly take Professor Goodler, then I'll invite Mary. After I will invite James, and then I'll invite Professor Sabiti. Professor Goodler, please go ahead.
Yes, Ronald. To surprise you, this is not Professor Goodler, this is her son.
Oh,
Boba
you are
Saza.
Professor. Okay.
But I had a
Yes.
I was listening to the meeting here at the dinner table, and I had a key takeaway for the year. My key takeaway for the year was that I was able to finish a loan to get land somewhere around Mukono, and being in my 20s, I just thank God for that. And to access capital from a small microfinance now that we had started in an organization at 1% per month, I think that was God sent. Yeah.
Wow, it's always a start, making a big decision to say I've got a property somewhere. And as a young person, it's a decision which all of us will tell you won't regret in the next 10, 15 years when you see the value appreciation and the opportunities you can create. So a big congratulations on that. And please do send our greetings
Ronald, we lost you. It looks like we've lost Ronald. Can you hear me, ladies and gentlemen, as we wait for Ronald to come on?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I think James Ngabrano, your hand is up. You can go ahead and share your highlights for 2023. James Ngabrano and Professor Elisabiti.
Hello, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, James.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is James Ngabrano. I read the team at Pretty Events. Pretty Events is your one-stop center for events equipment. I would want to appreciate Enterprise Uganda for the education they have always given us. I've been with Enterprise Uganda for the last 14 years. When I was starting, I can gladly say I'm speaking from my own premises. The highlight for this year, I've managed to work with Enterprise Uganda guidance, and my business has managed to acquire its own premises. So that is the highlight. And I remember I went to Enterprise Uganda in 2009 when I just started my journey, when I was lost, just lost my job. And they have guided me, Mr. Iriabu Chiza, Noah Wandera, George, Mutyabule, Mr. Chichi. I remember in 2011 when I was looking for funding, they guided me to get funding. So the journey has been long, but I would want to recommend them for the commitment they have shown. And I also want to urge young entrepreneurs who are starting to keep the spirit and maneuver. The journey is not easy, but it is possible. Another highlight I've taken is the Miriam, who has just said he had to take the big decision of terminating the big staff who had become, all of us, even me, I've made it this year in terms of I was managed to stop one of my long-serving customers for 7 years who had come broke in the running of the business. He would not allow the new people to do their business, their work. So it is very common, and we need to share these challenges so that even the new people are able to learn from the experiences we acquire. So I thank you, and I wish you everybody a Merry Christmas and a happy 2024. Thank you.
Thank you very much, James Ngabrano, for that. Congratulations upon acquiring your own premises 14 years later. And that's a lesson to everybody else listening, that it doesn't come overnight. You just have to be patient, be consistent, and be focused, and you actually will get to achieve some of your goals. So congratulations for that. And then, yeah, for those, again, somebody listening for the first time, Enterprise Uganda, we run trainings for people to start business. We have the 6-day entrepreneurship training workshop, which Mr. Ngabrano has just talked about. It is a life-changing experience to go for that training, because you come out of there with a business idea, and then we continue, we walk that journey with you, as you heard from Mr. Ngabrano. And then the issue of staff, of course, like we said, you must be able to be on top of the game, have relationships with the staff, and know what what value each individual brings. And then when you feel that their value has ceased you ceased to extract value from them, there must be a time to say it is time to go. And because one of the key decisions any business person makes that determine the growth of their business is the decision to hire and the decision to fire. And so that is in your power, and you must be on top of that game. Thank you very much, Mr. Ngabrano. I think Ronald is back on air. So Ronald, we have another hand up. Professor Elisabiti.
Yes.
Over to you.
I think Professor Sabiti can go ahead. Professor Sabiti, yes. Please unmute and share.
Thank you very much, Ronald. I'm very excited to see you after quite a long time. And thank you so much, Rosemary, for a wonderful job. Actually, I stumbled upon this invitation yesterday, and by curiosity, I said, let me go and listen. Now I realize that I have lost quite a lot. I don't know how one becomes a member so that he's able to benefit. Ronald was talking about young people. For me, I'm not young. I am a senior citizen, but interested in rentals. I have had a long passion of rentals since the about 80s. I deal with them individually. I haven't yet grown to become into a company. Maybe this is something I will need to understand or to be advised on. But most importantly, this information you are giving, I don't know whether Enterprise Uganda supports we who are in rentals, small estates. I have not yet. I'm still in the small estates business, and I don't know whether you support people like us. And also, what other products are available for us so that we are able to benefit, because much as been in academics alone cannot make you survive or sustain your lifestyle. One time, Ronald was talking about lifestyle when you retire. And as such, we have to make sure that we do not go downwards, we remain afloat. And to me, I thought that rentals can help you. But again, Ronald, I've had many people criticize us who invest in rentals. They say you lock up your so much money in rentals, but you never break even. And maybe today I could get some guidelines on how to keep on, despite challenges, despite criticism, despite our clients, Ugandans, don't keep to their promise. Whether you make whether you have contracts, whether you have agreements, whatever, they break them. So really, I wanted to find out more what I can gain. Although I have come at the tail end of your session, but I will be able to pick a few things so that next year I will be able to do a good thing. But what I have achieved this year, when I was putting some of my buildings, the National Sewage Corporation did not have enough meters, water meters. And so a number of tenants would be sharing 1 meter and it would be hell. But now this year, I have managed to separate all the rentals so that everybody can have his meter or her meter, and they have their own yaka. And I think from there, I will be able to move smoothly. So I want to stop here and thank you so much, and help me how whether this forum is only for young people or whether you allow senior citizens, I would appreciate. I submit.
Thank you so much, Professor Eli. I'm going to request Rosemary to come in and comment on the real estate. But Professor Eli, I think you are part of the Enterprise Uganda family now. We will be sending you a message almost every week, reminding you about the session. And yes, Enterprise Uganda cuts across. It's not only for young people, but it is also for senior citizens. And I think it's exciting to still see that urge to say, you know what, I can pick something and be able to progress. It's such an inspiration to us, Professor, to see that is the spirit you have. Rosemary, I wanted you to comment on the real estate and how you can give some quick tips to Professor. Then I will invite Mary and Maureen.
Thank you, Ronald. Yeah, I was smiling as Professor spoke, and yes, you've addressed the question of Professor. There's no age limit to creating wealth or to being engaged, as long as you have your full faculties. Anytime you can join. So Enterprise Uganda is for every Ugandan who wants to do business, or who is in business and wants to grow their business, or who is in business, has been struggling, the business went up, it's collapsing, and needs to be able to tap it back into its growth trajectory. And so we cater for every Ugandan, including yourself. And so we have a range of products or services that we offer. They're all non-financial. So ours are non-financial business development services. And so we have entrepreneurship training for starters, but even for those who are in business. We have trainings for those in the agricultural sector. We have trainings for young people. So we have a whole range. So just walk in one day or give us a call after here, and we shall be able to give you the whole range. And so we are not a member-based organization. We serve the business community, and you're free to use our services and also use other services of other providers. So we don't restrict you just to us, because we believe that we pollinate and somebody else adds in some more. And so the cross pollination is very, very useful for you as an entrepreneur. Yes, so rental. I'm in rental business as well. And it's one of the sectors that many of us who don't have enough time and had some surplus income invested in. It is a good sector, I must say. But like any other sector, it also has its own challenges, yes. And so you may not be able to, but also it depends on how you invest. If you invested in real estate using debt, that becomes a bit of a challenge, because of course then the payback period is even longer, and recouping your value, your investment, breaking even becomes a bit of a challenge. But that said and done, remember that as your business, the building, the property actually also gains value. And so at the end of the day, should you decide to liquidate, in addition to your daily cash flow, the monthly cash flow from rental income that sustains you and enables you to service your loan, your property in itself is also appreciating in value. And so it is not entirely correct to say that the sector doesn't make money, but to say that your property remains an asset and it appreciates in value, and if you decide to liquidate it, it will have appreciated and you will make a big return on the sale of that property. But that said and done, you need to know how to manage your tenants. Yes, Ugandans are very difficult to manage, but you must put in place mechanisms. One of the ways is to make sure you have somebody, not yourself, who deals with the client, because it becomes difficult for you to push very hard, because they'll say, oh, you're a senior fellow, please be understanding. So you use another party to be able to help you. And recently we had a young man who has developed an app, very, very innovative. I think Ronald will share with you, Professor, since you know each other very well, we'll share with you the contacts and just have a conversation with this young man. It is to solve the problems of landlords. The app is supposed to prompt, they also help you to administer, and they even go ahead to advance some money, some kind of loan to the tenants when they fail, depending on their profile, because they will look at them, track them, and see their performance. And if they think you're good, they can come in. So they are a bridge between the tenants and you, the landlord. I think it's such a good software that and service that has been developed, and we want to share that after this. But to say you're on the right track, if that is what you want to do, it is a good area to do. It has risks like any other sector, but it is also very rewarding in the long term. I submit.
Thank you so much, Rosemary and Professor. We shall reach out with more communication on the same. We have just about 15 minutes to go. I see Mary. Mary, go ahead. Then I'll invite Maureen and then Safari.
Thank you so much, everyone on this forum. Thank you very much, Ronald. I have learned 3 things this year and last year, but like anyone else, I'm not alone. If I had gathered enough courage, like about 5 years back, I would be on a different standing. And the biggest lesson I learned is from whatever basket you are sitting in, leave that thing of saying, God is seeing everyone. We found him there, he's seeing everyone, but the actions of people have to be confronted. My situation has been to that effect of saying, I can't confront people all the time. And I was greatly affected by COVID, after that by Ebola, because I'm in agriculture, where all my beehives were stolen. But when you are seeing the thief and you can't carry him on your head, take him to police. They started with the honey, but this time they were carrying the actual hives, taking them away. Now I have learned I have to keep struggling, and that was said by Mr. Chichi in the recent conference we had. Don't leave everything to God. Fight hard. And now Rosemary has said something which is biblical. Talk nicely to your data, to your creditors. I had one loan that almost ate my heart out. I didn't know what to do about it. All the savings I had to put them to that loan, but it failed to be over. I had to get out of my cocoon, went and talked to my lenders. I told them I don't have money. The seasons have been so bad. I even lost weight. I can tell you I lost 18 kilos because of agriculture. And they talked to me well, what I didn't expect. It gave me a bit of relief. I'm not running out from that loan, but it has given me to redraft myself. So the third lesson I learned is we lean so much on our families. No, they are not of the same thinking like you. You may be into such a project, you may be into such a business, but when all of them look at it as if you are crazy. So I learned to let go. Let them do their thing and I do mine. But what am I standing for next year? Rosemary, I'm knocking on your door. We have to sit down with you and you tell me how to reclaim my properties that have been deprived from me. I'm saying that openly because many people here could be having the same problem. Your properties are taken away, but you don't know how to reclaim them because you don't want wrangles. You don't want to die. You have had many people have died because of properties. But I'm on my way come January. Thank you so much, everyone.
Ronald, you're muted. You're muted.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Mary. That's the spirit. We can't leave everything to go. I think Mr. Chichi says it quite openly. We have to make sure we take our position. We have to make sure we do what we can. And I think, Rosemary, you have your first appointment for next year with Mary as she seeks to further push her business. I'll quickly turn to Maureen. Maureen, go ahead, and then Safari, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay, thank you, everyone. My name is Maureen. I have a symmetry of businesses, and that goes to show how tough it has always been to keep on keeping on. But I'm grateful for Enterprise Uganda for uplifting us, not only about the knowledge, but also when you think about the mental aspect of it, because it is a fight. And as you have heard from many, the challenge sometimes is not just about the money. So I'm grateful for this opportunity, but I would like to encourage us all to keep on fighting come next year, especially in line of the fact that there are so many BDS organizations out there. There's a big call to support small enterprises. So which means it's for us now to be on the lookout for these opportunities. For example, High Innovator was there recently, gave us 75 million. 75 million is a lot of money for small business. And yet it's not only about the money, it's also about the training, the learning, the mentorship, the collaborations. All of these come together to make us who we are. So my encouragement, as Rosemary has also stated, it's not just Enterprise Uganda as a standalone. There are many other organizations and enablers who are trying to push us forth, meaning there's a realization that small as we are as enterprises, we have a role to play to enable the youth, to enable all the people who are unemployed, to enable development of the economy. And that said, my encouragement to all of us again is let us keep on keeping on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maureen. And yes, let's keep pushing. As Maureen has rightly said, we are part of a broader entrepreneurial ecosystem with many players who are supporting. Some are supporting startups, some are supporting businesses at the growth level, some focus on standards, some focus on technical skills. And I think Maureen's message is very good, that we need to make sure that as entrepreneurs, we seek out for that information. We look for that information. We look for that support. We make ourselves available, and you look for the answers. And Enterprise Uganda is part of that ecosystem, and we encourage you. If there's someone out there who can give you a hand, make sure that you get to that help, and we push our businesses. The goal is to build businesses that can transform the nation, and we are totally behind that goal. Emma, please go ahead and share your comments, and then we can wrap up.
Thank you so much, Ronald, and good morning to everyone. I have come actually from another meeting speaking about sustainability, ECGs. That is, how we can remain sustainable as insurers, then also as the general public. But one thing that I've noticed that as entrepreneurs, we actually have a very short shelf life, I should say. We're bound to close very fast because we forget very easily that there are risks involved. And why don't you shoulder or transfer these risks to insurers? There's a program that I have, so is the channel called Promise Insurance Show on YouTube. You can check it out. God willing, this year, because I opened up a company, thanks to Enterprise Uganda, I have partnered with NTV, only that, of course, getting people to air their stories is going to take some time, but hopefully this coming year it's going to start, so that we can share testimonies. We can also go into a massive education campaign as insurers for our people, because many of them are perishing for lack of knowledge. As I heard somebody saying here, hey, we got to know these things late, but it's never too late to start. There's a package that I've shared today in my channel, the annuities plan. It is something that is a solution to the lump sum payments people get whenever they are retiring, because we have seen over time, whenever people get lump sums, they actually crumble within 2 years. That money is all down. They're actually back to abject poverty, and many die in a very miserable way. Yet they got heavy lump sums, yet you could actually put them in an annuity plan where that means also being invested much more, and you're getting monthly payments, and you won't feel the burden of having retired. Anyway, there's a lot I can share, but I've shared the link in the chat. Please copy it and watch at your appropriate time. I thank you, and Merry Christmas to you all.
Great. Thank you so much, Safari. Yes, Safari is into the insurance space. He actually was hosted on the Business Recovery Series. You can find his submission on the space, how we can be able to manage risks on the chat box. Please don't hesitate to reach out. And he has also shared his YouTube channel, which you can be able to follow him. Great. I think we are coming to the end of our session. A big thank you to everyone. There are a couple of comments. I'll go through them. Africano says, thank you very much. Enterprise Uganda, the recovery series have inspired me to revamp my coffee plantation in the village while I'm juggling other activities in the city. Is it possible to have URSB and other government agencies that can give us information and tips on what is required to keep the incorporated company registered and compliant? Yes, Africano, we are going to continue doing that, engaging with the regulators. I think about 20% or 30% of our shows have been focused on regulators specifically for that reason. Grace of Pole, mixed farm inspired in juggling corporate. And yes, Grace shared one of the sessions. She was also there at the Global Entrepreneurship Week. And yes, she's such an inspiration, the work which she's doing in Nebi. Susan Lugalambi says, thank you, Enterprise Uganda, for the support throughout the year. Coming from employment to entrepreneurship, the journey can be challenging, but your interventions through weekly discussions and diverse sectoral advisory has been extremely helpful. Ronald, I kindly request for the contact of the real estate app. So, the app person, yeah, so that we can benefit from that space. Derek, I'm going to request that you just post that number in the chat box so that Susan Professor Sabiti can be able to get it. Yes, Emmanuel says, thanks for sharing. Yes, I think that has been shared. Brenda says, thanks, Mary Sandy, for your ideas on family contribution. Emmanuel has shared his YouTube channel in the chat box. Professor Goodla, let us invest in compliance so that no doors is ever closed on us. Great. Susan Kasule says, thank you so much, Enterprise Uganda entire team, Ronald, Bid, Belinda, Bid and the online team, Derek and the entire team. Key learning this year is being aware of Ponzi schemes and tax management. That was the key learning for Susan. Hopefully, we'll come over to Enterprise Uganda next year. Susan, thank you so much for that feedback. Brenda says, thank you, Enterprise Uganda. Today was my first time here, and I love this. I look forward. Yes, Brenda, we want to see more of you next year so that we can be able to engage. Apollo says, thanks a lot, Enterprise Uganda. I missed the training, which I had applied for. Next time, I'll be considered. Yes, Apollo, I think people are talking about the ETW. We have kept the database of those who didn't attend, and we'll be able to invite them in the next chat. Madam Harriet Musoke says, well done, Rosemary Mutyabule. Thank you for always sharing great things. Yes, and says a thank you to all of the team. Thank you so much. Great. Friends, a big thank you for joining us. We want to wish you a very Merry Christmas as you engage with your families. We want to thank you for the work you have done for the country. I think Rosemary talked about this. Rosemary, I don't know whether you want to just quickly give some final remarks and then we can wrap up.
Yes, thanks, Ronald. Yes, I think as we come to an end, I just want to echo what has come through, the keep fighting. As we go into 2024, let's just keep fighting. It is a battle, and the more you fight, the stronger you become. Let us network, not just with, so come to Enterprise Uganda, go to financials, go everywhere, knock on every door that you think can contribute to your business success. Let's learn to knock the doors, network, and then collaboration, working together. When you see an opportunity, share it with others. See how we can leverage our friendships, our partnerships to grow our businesses, collaboration. But also, as we go into next year, for those who have joined us for the first time, first of all, welcome and thank you for making that decision to be with us this morning. To say that next year we are continuing with our business recovery series weekly, every Thursday, 9 to 11 o'clock. We are together bringing you knowledge, because like I said, knowledge is the most important resource or asset that you can invest in, because in knowledge, you're able to solve every problem that you come across. And so we'll continue with our business recovery series. And as Enterprise Uganda, we are proud to have been part of the team that, together with the Ministry of Finance, developed and launched the National Business Development Services Framework. It's called the National BDS Framework in September of 2022. We launched that framework, and what that framework focuses on is ensuring that our businesses, that Ugandans in the micro, small, and medium enterprise sector can access business development services. So there's going to be a mass rollout. So we are implementing it effective next year. And so there will be a lot of BDS available. And so I want to call upon you to be aggressive, to embrace this BDS and make sure you get as much knowledge, as much support to grow your business. Because we know as we graduate from one level of business to the other, there are unique problems associated or challenges associated with every level of business growth. And so make sure that you position your business to be able to receive but also to pay for some of these services. And as an institution, we'll continue to deliver our flagship entrepreneurship training workshop, the 6-day workshop. I want to encourage Professor Sabiti to sign up for this training. It is a life-changing training that helps you to understand how to run and to grow your business. We will have our signature business health checks. So we do complimentary business diagnostics. And so you make a request, even here online, if you post in the chat group that you want us to have the business health check conducted on you. What this does, it is an X-ray, just like you go to a doctor to examine your body. We examine your business for you and see the state or health of your business. And so we highlight where your strengths are, we highlight where your weaknesses are, the opportunities that you can potentially tap into, and the threats which you should be aware of and try and minimize the impact on your business. This is complimentary, and so I would want to encourage each one of you, if you haven't had one, plan for one for 2024 by signing up. Derek should be able to give you the details. And then we also have what we call the BEST. This one is the business startup tool for your young people. You have young people in your home, you have graduates that are looking for jobs and sitting and doing nothing, being a pain in your home. Offload them to Enterprise Uganda. Next year, we shall take them through the BEST training, and you'll be amazed at the mindset change that will be triggered in your young people, and that will push them to actually be able to tap into their potential and start their own businesses. Then we'll have the business mentoring. So this is where we walk the journey with you. You've heard the different testimonies of people who came here without businesses, and we trained them, worked with them, and today they are running and they've grown their businesses. And so we have a whole bouquet of services. Either go online or approach any of us, and we shall be able to take you through that. And then finally, for us, the good news as Enterprise Uganda, next year, we are moving into our own building, the Center of Excellence in Butarika. We shall be launching that building next year, and we shall, of course, let you know, and you'll be part of that. What that means, we now have a center dedicated to entrepreneurship training and mentorship. And so even you as our clients, you can come in, not just to train, but you can also use our facilities and be able to, and together, we can be able to enhance the business ecosystem and make sure everybody is growing. And so as I end, 3 questions that you should ask yourself, and I want you to write them down if you have a pen nearby. 3 questions as you enter into 2024. What is that one thing that you're going to start doing as a result of what you learned in 2023? What is that one thing that you're going to stop doing as a result of what you learned in 2023? And 3, what is that thing that you're going to continue doing because now you have realized it is something, it is a driver of your business, and you're going to continue doing so. Those 3 questions should take you into 2024, and I wish you a prosperous 2024 and a Merry Christmas. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rosemary. Yes, we are looking forward to seeing all of you on 18th of next year, January. A big thank you to everyone. Please do send our greetings and our blessings to your family and to your employees and to your teams. We want to thank you for the work you're doing from the Enterprise Uganda team. I also want to thank the team which works on the business recovery series. Most of you have possibly not met Derek. Derek is in our back office every week in, out, and then Junior, George Junior. They run our back office, and day in, day out, they are working to make sure that this is a success. There is a team of people who send messages to you, Martha and the entire team, the Enterprise Uganda team, which sends the messages. We are grateful for the work you do. A big thank you for putting in your effort, for making sure that this happens every week. We want to thank our hosts. I mentioned Abid earlier. Abid is one of our hosts. Belinda is one of our other hosts. Rosemary is also one of the hosts. I've seen a couple of the people who do our advisory work on the call. I've seen Antonia. I've seen, I think, I don't know whether I saw Anita earlier. I've also seen Africano. The teams of which make this happen. We want to say thank you to the team which makes the recovery series happen, and to, most importantly, you, the entrepreneurs who come in every week, patronize. I think Rosemary put it right. Patronize this show, patronize this session. We want to thank you so much. Have a blessed week, and we look forward to engaging more with you next year. 18th January, we'll be back with the